PJNET.TV, second half, starting now. We are recording. We are streaming. Dell is standing by in our green room. Chat room is eagerly waiting. So let's switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. PJNET.TV is on the air again for part 2. We just heard from Christopher Manti in the earlier segment. Those of you who were in the PJNET.TV chat room already know that. If you weren't, you really missed it. Go to PJNET.TV and join us in our chat room. You will find some friends there who will encourage you. Well, I've got some encouraging news, and we have in our green room, standing by, the dynamic duo Dell Duduit and Sophie. How you doing, Sophie?
Good.
You are? Well, you look like you are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I find that hard to believe this late at night. Are you just a little bit sleepy, maybe?
No.
No? Well, I heard that maybe you're all excited because something new is coming up very soon. What is it?
My new house.
A new house? How far away from Granddad is it?
10 minutes.
Oh, 10
minutes.
Okay.
It's close.
So you'll get to see Grandpa all the time, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cute little house they got. She has her own, to fall out. She has her own bedroom, and Joel will have his own bedroom. And let's see, we got our earbud here fell out. And cute little house. Happy for them. Good neighborhood. Right, it's a school too, isn't it? Yeah.
Is there going to be a new school?
No, it is a new school. But what were you going to say, sir?
My best friend, me and her gotta be neighbors.
Oh no, really? Well, I hope you stay best friends a long time because you're going to be living next to each other.
Yeah, no fighting.
Sophie, I think anybody that can't get along with you just can't get along with anybody. You're pretty.
Kind of not true, but nobody never gets along with me that much. It's really good.
Okay. Sophie, are you eating something?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Can I have some?
I already ate it.
Yeah.
What was it?
A Pop-Tart.
A Pop-Tart at 9:30 at night. Just what every child
That's
needs.
Normal.
Okay.
You better get going.
Sophie, it's so good to see you, Sophie. Thanks for stopping in.
Beat it. See ya. Tell them bye.
Bye.
All right.
All right. She found her way out. I know. I thought the door was on the other side, but sometimes we switch the screens back and forth, and I get disoriented. So
she's having a hard time getting the door open. Are you stuck?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. The door's stuck. Oh well, you have to wait.
Oh well, she's just captive.
Oops. We were having all kinds of problems tonight here, Coach. Sorry about that.
Okay. Go ahead and unplug. Go close the door. I'll hold the fort down here for a minute if you need to fix that.
Give me 20 seconds.
I'll give you 20 seconds, folks. Dell Duduit coming to us all the way from the great state of Ohio. And if you didn't think this was live, you know now that we're not faking this. This is grassroots.
All right, we're back.
Television. All right.
Live TV, right? Nothing like it.
You got it.
All right, we're good.
All right. So if I can get you, okay, you're wired in. All right. So if I can get you to sit still a minute, maybe you can tell us about how busy you are.
It's been a crazy month, man. It's been a fun month, but it's been really crazy. It's been really nonstop, and that's why I like it too. I like it that way, but it's just been nonstop. So anyway, got a lot going on, and but I'd rather be that way than bored. So, from going to conferences coming up to which is next weekend. We'll be together in North Carolina, and we're going to be. Come in here. My wife's here for a minute. Get the dog out of here, please. Tell everybody hi. It's just been a crazy night here, Coach.
And there's not only are you busy, your household is busy. Okay,
It's nonstop, man.
It's
Nonstop.
contagious or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do if I was ever bored. I really have no idea. But it's just we've had a busy month. I don't even know what's going on. I've had and this doesn't sound like a whole lot, but in the last couple of weeks, I've had to go through 2 book edits, which is pretty in depth work to go through all that. So I had to get 2 book edits done. And send in a manuscript and complete a manuscript all within 3 weeks. And it was just, I'd get home from work and I'd just lock in my office and would come out. And, I've got a Keurig machine here in my office now, so I don't need to leave. And we're all set to go. So, from volunteering at the Tebow event to going to a marriage conference to Sophie's birthday party to all those book edits and revisions, raising money for my trip to Tokyo, which is coming along very well. I'm very fortunate to everybody who's tuned in tonight who has helped, and there's been a lot of folks from this show who have helped, and we're very grateful for that. And we had one come in today. I don't like to ask for help or ask for money for it, but it's just part of it, and I'm very grateful for the folks who stepped up and are going to be a part of this. I'm real close to hitting my goal, and I'll have it hit by the end of the week. So I'm very confident with that.
Dale, your life is somewhat resembling that of like being in a blender. I've heard you tell us it was 3 years ago, or not too long ago, you took a journey down to Central Florida to a writers' conference. Think about your life, a typical day in your life before you went to that conference, and compare it with a typical day in your life today.
A typical day in my life back then, I would work my job, and this isn't wrong. This is nothing wrong with this. I kind of miss these days. So, I'd come home, would make dinner. If I didn't have anything going on, we would sit down and watch television. I don't know the last time we've sat down and watched television. Or we would kind of not be bored with something to do, try to find something to do. I don't have that problem. I do not lack for anything to do now. My day now is I have a little checklist and I have to check it off or else I won't get it done. And now, I'm doing agenting work for Kyle, and by golly, that's I'm getting in a good way inundated with emails and phone calls. Hey, will you represent me? So we've been able to sign 2 clients already. I'm looking at really making an offer to a third, and we've already got a book sold. And that's kind of Kyle said very unusual to get one sold within 2 weeks. So we're very fortunate. 4 years ago when I did go down to the Florida Christian Writers Conference, that's where I met Kyle. And ever since that, it's just been nonstop. And that's how I like it. That's how I like it when I played ball. That's how I liked when I played 3 sports all the time. I was always doing something. I was always busy. And I enjoy that. I get things done. If you ever want something done, ask somebody who's busy. And that's me. So that's why I like the agenting thing right now. I'm learning some things. I'm going to give the author the attention that I would like to have. So, and I'm not going to let emails sit. I'm not going to let text messages sit. I'm going to respond to people and do my best to get them represented and do my best to get them published. So that's what I'll be doing. We've got a boatload of conferences we're going to this summer already. We're booked up. We're going to close to you. We're coming down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Okay.
To a conference. I don't know how far away is that from you.
I think that's in central northern, isn't it? Alabama?
It's Birmingham, is that right? I don't know.
Oh, that's North Alabama.
I haven't spent too much time in Alabama, so.
Oh, I have. It's God's
so we're coming
country
down there. We're coming to, we're going to Chicago. We're going to Ontario, Canada. we're going to, of course, next week we'll be in North Carolina. We're going to New York City, so we've got a lot of things going on. Then I got to try to squeeze in a trip to Tokyo during that time.
Yeah, in your spare time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, 4 years ago, I knew I was supposed to do something. I just didn't know what, and I was frustrated at times because both my boys preach, my wife sings, and I didn't do anything. And I struggled with that for a long time. I thought, I was useless. I was discouraged a lot. I was somewhat depressed a lot because I wasn't doing anything, and I wanted to, but I just didn't want to do anything. I wanted to do something I was good at, and not that I'm a good writer, but it just seems to fall. It seems to come a little easier to me. So, but it's not easy at all. I mean, the blog I wrote today. It wasn't my best. I didn't get home from my class last night till late.
Oh, that's right. You teach a class too.
I teach a college class, and so I got home late last night, and I hadn't written a blog yet. And I just sat down like 11 o'clock last night, and I just said, "What a month!" I thought, "Okay, let's just see where this goes," and that's what I did.
There's some things that aren't in there that I'm thinking about because, you met Kyle some 4 years ago, you said, in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Since that time, Kyle, now Kyle is the top of the pyramid at serious writer and okay. So you meet Kyle. He's a brother in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
He's a boss.
Mm-hmm.
He's a partner in publishing your own works.
Yeah.
He's your agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my point is, when you have that many points of intersection, professionally and personally, that you find yourself kind of walking a tightrope, because you got to kind of switch over to this lane of traffic and say, I'm talking to you now as you're my agent. And then in the next sentence, the next paragraph, you say, no, wait a minute, I'm not talking to you as my agent anymore. I'm talking to you as a brother in Christ now. How do you manage all that? I mean, it must be like, I don't know.
We do manage it because he's on my little board of directors, I call it. So some men that I reach out to once in a while and just share things with. And so I'm able to separate that. I'm able to separate the part where I'm doing work for him as an agent. He gives me advice. And then at the same time, we talked about this yesterday. I said, hey, Kyle, I've got a couple ideas. I want you to pitch. He goes, oh, okay, great. So I can separate that. I mean, I'm adult enough and professional enough to be able to put those on the levels they're supposed to be at and maintain those relationships and not cross those. I'm not going to count on him since I work for him and things like that. I still have to produce. I still have to give him a good proposal to pitch to a publisher. I'm not just going to assume he'll pitch it. He has to have a reason to. And we're trying to set up a good track record to where now with some books out, he can go to publishers and say, hey, Dell's doing really well here, and you should really look at this because I think he can sell books for you. So it's a little bit of leverage there too. And ironically, Michelle Medlock Adams and Sherry Lynn Bisbano were the ones who put me in contact with Kyle. And so had I not met them, had I not reached out to Michelle, this probably never would be happening because I didn't know where to go. She introduced me to Sherry Lynn. I never would have met Sherry Lynn. So it all comes cyclical. It's all a big, it's really fascinating how all these moving parts came together to put me where I am right now, which is, I'm not in a mega rich scheme. I'm just in an opportunity to help and to try to bless people. And that's what I want to do.
Dallas, I was reading your blog. The thought occurred to me, and I think it says in there somewhere, there are times in our life where we pray for things. We pray for change. We become what I would call a healthy dissatisfaction with the way things are. And, of course, we pray to God, and if we really had the faith that we should, it's like when you're praying for rain, you should have an umbrella on hand. But the odd thing is when God does pour out those blessings, in so many cases, we're not prepared to receive them because our faith just isn't what it ought to be.
Yeah, that's a great case in point. I think we try to make things happen. I tried to make things happen for a long time, and then I finally had to get out of the way and say, okay, you know, I'm almost 50 years old here. What do you want for me? And then, he just kind of turned on the spigot. So I just got out of the way. But I think that's, one of the main things. And that's the point I made in the blog. Don't try to make it happen. Do something for him. Smile at people. Be nice to people. Uh, Invite people to church. Be a witness first. And don't just say, give me this, give me this, give me this. Prove it to God that you are worthy, that you are willing to do things. You're willing to take a back seat. And I'm not doing this for to be on these shows and to get all these bylines, but it's starting to happen a lot. But that's just that's great. I'd be happy even if it weren't, because I'd still be busy and I'd still be trying to help people. So, but if you want him to take charge of your life, you got to kind of step back and let him, because that's the scariest thing to do, is just take the reins off. And I still have problems with that at times. I still like to make things happen, and when I do, I tend to screw it up a lot. So I've kind of learned, and I keep doing that, but I've learned just to kind of sit back. With this Tokyo trip, I made some phone calls. I didn't say, yeah, I'm in. I just said, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And God will provide, and so far he is. So that's where we're going with that. And I've learned to be patient in all this stuff, and just kind of turn it over. I mean, and I didn't understand that for a long time. People would say, well, turn it over to God. I'd say, well, what's that mean? What does that, turn it over to God? Okay, cast your burden, turn it all over to him. That's great. But what's that mean? Do I just say, okay, I'm not doing anything? Or do I still work at things? Do I still make phone calls? Do I still, make attempts? Or I just ignore it and wait for God to take care of it? So I struggle with that at times.
Yeah. Yeah. My coach was known for saying two things. The first one is mind over matter. He would say, I don't mind because you don't matter. But the second thing was more to the point in your blog, is he said there's no such thing as luck. Luck is defined as when opportunity meets preparedness. There's opportunities all around us. We may not see them, but maybe the reason we're not seeing them is we're not preparing for the blessings that God has for us that we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make. You have to be prepared, and to be prepared, you have to be a good steward. You have to be willing to take a back seat. You have to be willing to be humble. You have to get out of the way. And for somebody who's kind of arrogant like I am, or it's kind of hard to just step back and say, okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you do it. That was hard for me to do, but able to do it finally. And I wish I'd done it 20 years ago.
Ben Cooper has something in the chat room. He has a way with words. All you writers do, I
just plagiarize.
This is pretty profound. Still work, but don't worry.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm a warrior by nature. I stay awake at night thinking about things, and I shouldn't, but I do. And then everything's, and I don't mean this arrogantly, but everything always seems to work out, and in His timing. And if I make things happen, try to make things happen, I mess it up. So I've learned over the years: sit back, wait on it. It's going to happen, and be ready. You're right. Be ready to give thanks. Be ready to be grateful. Be ready to show appreciation, not only to God, but everybody who's helped me, or who's played a part. And I don't forget that stuff. If people who help me, who do things for me, I do remember those, and I don't forget, and I'll never be in that position where I just say I don't have time for you. When they took time for me, and I think I've told this a couple times, when Michelle took time out of her day to call me and talk to me for 3 hours. The first time we talked, of course, I got 15 words in.
Now you can get 20.
Now I can get 20. I remember that. And so when somebody says, "Hey, I'm trying to get into writing," I take time. I will take time and talk to them and say, "This is what I did. This is what you need to do." Because if it wasn't done for me, I wouldn't be doing this. So I will always take time. Always take time. Somebody has a question, if they don't know what they're doing, how to get started, I'll just tell them my story. And that's the only advice I can give, is what worked for me. And what worked for me was getting out of the way. but then doing what I was told, and doing it quickly, doing it right, and then just let God take control of it, because it does work.
I can recall your thoughts are making my thoughts drift back some 30 years ago. I made things happen, Dell, and I was pretty good at it, and made a lot of money. And I say that in a way I'm rather ashamed of today, because my focus was making money. That's how I measured my own self-worth, is income, status, Corvettes, things. And I wanted all that the world had to offer. And my testimony is if the world would have even delivered on about half of the promises that it makes, I might still be living that way, but I found myself rather empty. Today, I think I'm equally as goal-focused. I don't think that's gone away. But now I consider success monetarily as a parenthetical side effect of doing a thing in obedience to God's will well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Money, as I get older, the money's the value of money is diminishing in my opinion, and you got to have it, but it's not as important as it was 20 years ago. Same way with me. Kids are gone, moved out. I don't need to make what I was making, and I was making a lot of money too. Don't need to, really don't want to. That's why I'm so excited to be off this summer and be traveling to conferences and to try to help authors become published. And they'll make money. I'll make a little bit of money. We'll all be happy. So it's taken a different role in my life the last 5 or 6 years that it's not as important anymore. I still get to where I'm going in a Corvette or in an old Ford. So end result, when I shut the door, when I get to my destination, shut the door, it doesn't really matter anymore that I was driving in a nice leather seat and so forth like that. So it's not, everything's changed in the last few years, and their priorities have changed. And wish I was like this 20 years ago, but I'm not. I can't go back. You got to move forward. You got to try to be the best you can be and try to set the example now. And right, there's not right wrongs, but just
best
remember
practices.
Where you came from. Yeah, remember where you came from, and remember what steps you took to get here. So, and I try to do that. I try to do that every day. I'm not being noble. I'm not being holier than thou, but I do. I got an email yesterday from a person. You want to get into writing? I sent them a long email. This is what I did. This is what you go to writers conference. Mm-hmm. That's where people are asking me. I'm trying to get a hold of Kyle. Go to a conference.
Yeah.
Find the conference he's at.
Yeah.
Go to a meeting. That's the best way, because
makes sense.
It does make sense, which means we'll be together next weekend down in North Carolina for a few days. Looking forward to that. And I think there's a pretty good turnout coming. That's what I hear.
Well, I know PJNET's going to be there pretty strong.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it. We're leaving. We're going to leave bright and early Thursday, and get down there Thursday afternoon and have a good time. I know what classes I'm teaching, and looking forward to it. It's always a good time. It's the third year for this conference, and the last 2 years have not disappointed. So there's a lot of good people on faculty there, a lot of good publishers coming down, a lot of good agents, and I'll be there too. So
okay, the good agents plus Dell. All right, so the time is drawing nigh. Monday night after our broadcast, that will be it. We will start tearing down this studio Monday night. All day Tuesday we'll be packing things up and preparing. And then all day Wednesday we'll be traveling, and then we will be probably the first ones there for the opening of the door to set up at that conference. And of course the conference will be Thursday later in the day, and then all day Friday and part of the day Saturday. And then I think we may be doing a little extra project for something going on at the church later that day. So we're going to be very busy. And that's healthy. Del, we started on busy and we ended on, busy. So, and Del, I know, before I read your blog, I know that you're a busy man. And I know that you were the first to take the time that you don't have to be with us each Tuesday evening away from your busy schedule just to share with us and to bring Sophie on board and all that. And Dale, I remember well. And, as things get better and better, I will always remember that you were the tip of the spear for PJNET.TV when it was, it certainly wasn't what it is today. And it isn't today what it's going to be in the future. So, Dale, you were there in those beginning days, and thank you so much for believing in the vision.
I consider this relaxation time.
Okay.
So, I could do it every night if you want me to. It's a time to shut off for a half hour and have a good conversation. And that's needed today. You have to have good, positive conversation with people. I get so much negative stuff. I put a tweet out yesterday. I got off the phone with somebody. And this is lousy conversation, so I put out a tweet. I'm tired of dealing with negative people. And somebody I know sent me a message saying, "Was that about me?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, no.
Don't be so negative." Don't be.
I was like, "Good grief." No, so I got on the phone with somebody. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this person tried to drag me down," and so I just said no.
Yeah.
But and I understand where that comes from too, because I've been there. You get a little paranoid sometimes. And when you're a writer, you're overly sensitive sometimes too, because you put your work out. Everybody has work, and then not a lot of people see it.
Mm-hmm.
My work goes out there, and hopefully thousands of millions of people will see it, and that's kind of daunting, because if there's a mistake in it, and everybody sees it, then that's not very fun. But justifiably so, writers, authors are a little paranoid, a little sensitive sometimes, because their work is criticized by somebody might not like your work and put on a review on Amazon that just cuts you to a cord, and it's on there. Everybody can see that. So some people might think they have a lousy job, but when you're criticized or reviewed by people, so
Dale, read your blog, see if you could find a grammatical error. It's in there.
There's probably 9 to 10 of them. I wrote it at midnight. I'm surprised if there's one. That's great. I can change that on my WordPress easily, so I can update that.
There you go. Okay, so the next time that we see Dale, it will be recorded if we see him at all. So I think I sent you a message earlier. Sometime this week, we're going to have to get together and start pre-recording the episodes for next week, because PJNET TV will be on the road.
Well, hopefully it'll be about. I hope that the local paper runs where I'm going to send them tomorrow. It's about 2 bills in the Senate that were shot down today. Actually, that deal with abortion, and 2 very crucial bills were denied. They didn't make it. They failed on the floor. One of them was to make it mandatory to help a child who survived an abortion that's born be treated. But no, that's not the case. That they can let that child die, and they have done that in New York City. If a child survives an abortion, you know what? They just leave it die. They let it die. So once it becomes a citizen, breathes the air we're breathing, no, he doesn't have a right to life. They let it die. But by golly, people can cross our border illegally, abuse our freedom, take our jobs, and you know what they're doing in New York City? They're giving them driver's license now.
Yeah.
Illegal invaders are allowed to drive in New York because we have sanctuary. We have morons. The Democrat Party has become nothing but a cesspool of morons.
Moronic.
So. Yeah.
Violates common sense.
Get off on a tangent.
There you go.
So,
all right. Well, Dale, we won't quote see you next week, but we will have you here in some electronic digital form. But let's get ready, and I will see you in North Carolina next time we get together.
Will do.
All right. Thank you, Dale.
Thanks.
All right. I know we went a little long there, but once you get Dale crank, it's hard to, it's like drinking out of a fire hydrant, so to speak. Hey, thanks to everybody in the chat room tonight. Your presence is always an affirmation that maybe something we're doing here makes sense to somebody. A quick update. There's a lot going on that you cannot see right now. a lot going on, but we are putting together, we're actually implementing the plan that has been there all along to generate what is known as an RSS feed to notify you and anybody else on the PJNet team that there's a new post out there on social media somewhere promoting the PJNet brand, and this wolf pack is going to pile on with likes and comments and reposts and shares and things like that. And I'm really looking forward to unveiling it. Now, at the same time, I want to kind of apologize to some of you because I feel like I've kind of left you behind. But please indulge me and just trust me a little longer. There are a lot of moving parts, but this will not only simplify things as they are now, it will broaden the universe of people into literally the thousands who can be notified immediately when there's a new post about PJNet promoting the brand on social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. So I will be making tutorial videos. We will be holding boot camp sessions. Please do not allow yourself to be intimidated. Folks, we're going to use the tools, the technology that is available to us, and we have gone from a very good start, and we need to put this thing in high gear. So appreciate your patience with me. Don't feel like you're being left behind. We're going to come back, and we're going to this coach can get you up to speed, no problem, okay? 2 questions before I leave you. One is, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? The second question is, when was that? Folks, we cannot ever let ourselves be satisfied with either answer.